Thank you. Good evening, students. Good evening to all. We are today well aware of all the concepts, whatever has been taught till input tax credit. So we know everything, major portions of the GST we know on what is GST, what is supply, what is a transaction, when is the time of supply, what is the values to be charged, what are the various exemptions, and what are the various ways to claim input tax credit, what are the conditions to claim the input tax credit. So we know everything in detail. So let us get into practical aspects of this. We'll learn the questions on what are the relevant questions and how do we handle them when it comes in the exams. So you will get comedy questions as well as practical questions. So wherever there are theory questions, we have taken it up at the appropriate times in terms of MCQs and things. So that gave you a better idea and better understanding. So now we'll learn through on how do we get and solve the problems. Hope all my students are there, active and live. I need more participation. Just come on, let's make this today's session more enjoyment, because here it requires a lot of communication from you. It has to be two-way communication. Only I cannot tell, because questions also if I tell, answers also if I tell, then you will not learn anything. So I will want your participation so that you can learn to the maximum extent possible. Yeah, very few students. Okay, but good that I'm able to see last lecture some in more. Okay. Sir, technical team, I had uploaded questions also. So students are saying they have not received the questions. So if you could just upload that, that will be helpful. And in any case, today's question, I have started from question number 4. So question number 1, 2, 3, that also I'll be uploading. So all questions, what I had taken in the previous session, as well as this session, I will upload them all. So you can see them all. And this will definitely get uploaded after our class. Yeah, Pooja Gajar, your question on explain notification number 66 with respect to time of supply of goods. So before this notification, you need to know what happens. Then you'll understand the impact of this notification. Before this notification came in, GST was involved on supply of goods. Okay, the time of supply was on either receipt of goods, on supply, sale of provision of invoice, or receipt of advance, whichever was earlier. Okay, so even in case of goods, if you would have received advance, you had to pay GST, right? With this notification, what it said is on receipt of advance, you don't have to pay GST. Okay, so only for goods, this notification came in and it gave a relaxation saying that if you are a provider of goods, then you don't have to pay GST on receipt of advance. You have to pay only GST when you issue an invoice. So that was the relaxation given through notification number 6. Okay, the last question, what we had solved, there's a question over there in terms of supply. List price was 80,000 and 5,000 NGO. Okay. It will be 85,000. 2% list price is 80,000 into 2%. Okay, so there's a question on the previous question which we had raised on. Let me just take that question and solve that. List price. Yeah, we are on exactly on this question itself. Share my screen. Okay, so Star Limited list price was 80,000, right? This is the answer here. List price is 80,000 and discount on list price. Okay, the list price is 80,000. Subsidy received from NGO is an addition in terms of valuation. Please be careful. This is an addition because of valuation. The list price is the list price. You cannot alter the list price. So on the list price, you will get discount, not on 85,000. Jamil, not on 85,000. 80,000 is the list price which is given in the question. Your discount has to be applied on the list price. So I'll take you through the question again. List price is 80,000, 2% discount on the list price of the machine. Okay. And the list price is fixed at 80,000. So your discount is 2% on 80,000 itself. So also instruction students, whoever are using web portal for asking questions, fine. But students who are using the app, the BOS app, kindly update your app because your questions, some people are getting problems that when they are entering intermediate class, they are going to foundation. So those issues are there with the old version. So please update your app and then raise your question so that it will come correctly to me. And still, if you have face any problems, then please let me know. Input tax notes not updated. I have sent it to the technical team. They will definitely update it because of this holy vacation. Might be they are away, but once they are back, they will upload it. All my presentations has been shared. They will send it. ITC is not available to both resident and NRI on import of services. No, ITC is not available only to a non-resident, but ITC on import of services is available to everybody else. So a resident person, if he is importing any services, he has to pay under RCM and he will get the credit. Only for a non-resident, he will not get credit on import of services. Only on import of goods, what he brings in, that he will get. After 180 days, how recipient will make payment? So regular payment, how they will make the payment? I didn't understand your question. So within 180 days, payment has to be made to claim input tax credit. So if you don't pay, okay, then you will pay GST under output tax. So you are claiming input today, but when you are not paying to the vendor within 180 days, the input what you have claimed, you have to pay back through your GST returns only. There you will show it, add it to your output tax and pay it. Okay, to the vendor, you can pay it later on. Whenever you pay, you claim it back. So once with 180 days crosses, you reverse the credit with interest and pay it in your monthly returns as output tax, right? The government needs the money. So you don't have sufficient input. If you have sufficient input in that month, reduce that much payable from the input. If you do not have sufficient input, then pay it as an output thing. Okay, that is how you will pay it. Exemptions, you will get long answers also. So here we'll solve a practical question on exemption also. It could be a lengthier question also. Apart from MCQs, you might get a bigger question also. So we'll start with the actual. Common ITC is not there in syllabus. Common ITC is there. The reversal of common ITC is not there. So we'll take up a question where it is not involving those reversals of rule 42 and 43, but still basic questions on exemptions can come. So basic questions on a common ITC can come, that we will discuss. So common ITC will come, but not the reversal of those ITC. That reversal happens through rule 42 and 43. That will not come, but basic common ITC is there. Will you take the or not take the credit? That much questions can be asked. Okay. We'll go to this question. Zoom required. Very good. Arihant Residents Welfare Association. So this is a question on welfare association. Okay, Mansa, I'll just take your question after we take up this question. We'll answer these first. Arihant Residents Welfare Association is registered under GST and has 45 members. There are 45 members in a welfare association. They are each paying monthly maintenance charges of rupees 8,000. Okay. The association purchased a pump set. So this is a monthly maintenance what they're collecting from each member, 8,000 per member. So 8,000 they'll collect from all the 45 members. The association purchased a pump set for rupees 60,000 excluding GST and availed property management services for rupees 59,000 inclusive of GST. So here it is exclusive and 59,000 it is inclusive for use of its members for the month of January 2021. Compute the GST payable for January 2021 by the association. All transactions are intrastate. There is no opening ITC and all conditions of ITC are fulfilled. Very small question. Hope for a smaller answer so that we could get more marks. Generally, these types of questions can come for 4 marks because there is some workings involved, but those small workings also, if you do it correctly, it will be really helpful to add up to your marks. So question number 5 is on welfare association. The question is reposted here so that I don't have to toggle. So question number 5 is here. Screens are visible. Or are you part of this class? Otherwise, please update your app. You're sending questions to a wrong session. Okay, so Resident Welfare Association question, they are getting 45 members at rupees 8,000. So firstly, what is the exemption for Resident Welfare Association? Is there any exemption? On Resident Welfare Association, there is a exemption. In exemption chapters, we have read that if the association's collection is up to rupees 7,500 rupees, then there is exemption. So in our case, how much are they collecting? They are collecting 8,000 rupees. So will they get exemption? No, they will not get any exemption. They will not get any deduction also of 7,500. So this is not a slab basis. This is a basis of a limit which is set. The limit is set as 7,500. So if you cross 7,500 on the whole value, GST will be liable to be paid. Before that, what you have to see whether the welfare association has a registered and whether they are crossing the registration limit. How much is the registration limit? Here nothing is mentioned. So we'll assume it is in a normal state wherein the limit is 20,000. Since they have not mentioned anything, you can make an assumption saying that even if you don't write also, it's fine because they're saying that they're collecting 8,000 and they're telling you to calculate the GST liability. So you can, if to be on a safer side, you can mention that it is assumed that the welfare association has crossed the limit and hence GST is collectible on the monthly maintenance what is being collected. Okay. With that, so what is the monthly maintenance charges? 8,000 at 45 members, which makes it as 3,60,000. So on 3,60,000, how do you write your answers? Generally, it is advisable to mention the name over here so that at least it is clear to the examiner that you are writing the question number and you are writing the reference number also, the name at least. So Arihant Resident Welfare Association, computation of GST payable. So monthly maintenance received from 45 members at 8,000 rupees. Okay, just don't use your calculator. Give the workings also. They'll know. Even if your calculator went off wrong, you are intended to do it correctly. So 8,000 into 45. makes it as 3,60,000. Now on 3,60,000, how much is the GST? We know that if no rate is given, okay, if no rate is given in your exam, then the general rate will apply. For services, the rate is 18%. So you can just mention GST and be clearly mentioning it as CGST and SGST so that the examiner knows that there are two GSTs, but you're adding it up here because you don't have to show it separately. If you want, you can show it separately, but doesn't make sense because all your inputs also are intrastate. That's the reason, or it is credit admissible, so you can add both. So on 3,60,000, 18%, which makes it at 64,800. This is your output tax payable. Then GST payable. GST is excluded in the collection. So we don't know whether that GST is inclusive of GST. The amount collected is inclusive of GST. So that's the reason I mentioned note GST payable because GST is excluded in the collection. Then I'll reduce the input tax credit on pump set. 60,000 is a pump set. It is excluding GST. So I will add, calculate the GST on 60,000 rupees. 60,000 into 18% makes it as 10,800. This is my input on pump set. On property management services, that is clearly mentioned that it is inclusive of GST of 9,000. I will reduce the 9,000. Is this eligible credit? Yes, this is eligible credit because none of these sets, the pump set is a capital goods, right? It is not like a works contract service or something. It's just a pump set. It's a good which you have bought. So on that credit is available. Even on property management services, it is a input service. So you have to reduce both the credit and net GST payable is 45,000 rupees. Okay, simple question, simple answer, no complication. Okay, so there are other questions. Manta, your question. I want to discuss November 2000 and question number 7A, old course. It's all about section 12 and 13, logbook of engineering, good and supplying of engineering goods. In this question, section 12 applies on supply of engineering goods. Supplier receives advance for goods. In the act, receipt of payment is the criteria for determining the time of supply. However, as per notification, receipt of advance is not relevant. I explained all this, but I got 1 mark out of 5. No, there will be some of the mistakes. Just see the suggested answers, then you'll get to know what was the mistake. You will have to explain it more in detail. Just mentioning that notification 66 will not be relevant. You'll have to mention everything properly. Yeah, next question. If I get commission by sending students to foreign education by foreign universities, is it export of service? We are getting commission by sending students to foreign education. So it is, this is not a relevant question because it involves place of supply and place of supply is not there for you. So a person who's getting commission is an intermediary. For intermediary, the normal export provisions will not apply. So for your question specifically, Jamil, when you're sending students and getting commission, okay, on that commission, the place of supply will be where you are staying. So if you are in India, you will not be, in normal cases, it will be export of services. As I said, in case of intermediary services, it will be treated as services provided only in India. Because on commission services, there's a special provision of intermediary services. The place of supply will be where the agent is located. In your case, agent is located in India, so it will not be an export of service. I had purchased 1,000 pieces and paid GST. After that, I sold 500 pieces, and my whole ITC is consumed. Rest of the yes, sir. Okay. I have purchased 1,000 pieces, and is it clear now? Okay. So the question is, I had purchased 1,000 pieces and paid GST. After that, I have sold 500 pieces, and my whole ITC is worth whatever and pay by cash. Reverse ITC we say because if you have sufficient ITC, pay by ITC. If you don't have ITC, you have to pay by cash. Where will you get all these questions? You will get it from me. I will upload all the questions and the answers. In this question, rate is not given. Yes, when rate is not given, the rate is assumed generally considered as the rate of 18%. What about assumption for rate of goods? Assumption for rate of goods will not be required because for goods, they will give you a specific rate, because in the case of goods, there are three rates, 5%, 12%, and 18%. They will give the rates for goods. Is it past question or MTP? No, this is not based on past question, except the first question which I had taken yesterday. Apart from that, all other questions are drafted by me. I've taken from various sources and reframed it so that you can understand it. It is not from RTP or MTP. If exempt becomes taxable supply, then will that person have to register? Yes. Once he moves from exempt to his goods becomes exempt to taxable, then he will have to register. What does inclusive of GST of 9,000 mean? It means that the value, the price, what is being charged is inclusive of GST, right? So if they give a question like this and they say inclusive of GST of 9,005, otherwise if they say just inclusive of GST 18%, then what will you do? If they just say inclusive of GST of 18%, it means you have to back calculate it. How do you back calculate it? 59,000 divided by 118 into 18, which gives you 9,000. So either they can give you the, in this question, you've been lucky enough that they've said how much is the GST value. But if they say inclusive of GST at 18%, then you have to do reverse calculation. 59,000 is inclusive of GST of 18%. So divided by 118 into 18 will give you the input tax credit. Okay. So what we have to do right now, write or listen, you write and listen both. If you can work out by yourself, then I'll give you time. So what I'll do is I'll ask you the question and give you 5 minutes time, and then I'll take up the answers so that you'll be with me. Okay. So we'll go to the next question. Question number 6. Mr. A is running a 6 to 12. I think these are all short question answers, not sums to work out. So 6 to 12, you just listen to me. Mr. A is running a consulting firm, and he's also having a ready-made garment showroom, which are registered in the same PAN. Okay. So a person is having a consultancy firm and is also having a ready-made garment showroom, which are registered with the same PAN. Turnover of the showroom is 102 lakhs and receipt of consultancy firm is 24 lakhs in the preceding financial year. Whether Mr. A is eligible for composition scheme, whether there is any difference if Mr. A wants to opt for composition scheme only for showroom. Okay. So what will be your answer in this case? We have studied on composition scheme. How do we present answer if the question is about exemptions? See, for service exemptions, you have only one notification. You can just remember that notification and just provide the reasoning saying that this is exempted through notification number 13. So very clear. But you write the reasoning also. It is exempted. Yes, it is exempted. Why is it exempted? Exempted through a exemption notification. So notification number 12 is exemption notification. So for whenever you feel that there is an exemption in services, mostly you will get exemption for services only, because services exemption of goods is not there for you. So you just mention it is exempted through notification number 12. 12/2017 of GST, 12/2017 central tax rate. Okay, you mentioned that, then they'll know that okay, you're aware of the notification. Jaspreet Kaur, are you attending GST session or the other session? Please reply. He is eligible for composition scheme because his turnover is not more than 1.5 crores. Very good. Students, you are only seeing the turnover, but in case of composition, you don't have to see only turnover. You have to see that a composition person, okay, he has to be dealing only in goods or only in services. Here, this person is dealing in consultancy for मतलब services है, तो अब services भी है और goods भी है. How can you opt for composition? Think again and tell me. Rohini, your answer is correct. Very good. For showroom, he can opt for. Rekha, not eligible for first month. Okay. For showroom, he can opt for. How is that? Sunil Dubey, you are also seeing one turnover. See the turnover and see the nature, whether it is. One very good answer I got, which is incorrect but very interesting. But if you want to opt for composition scheme for showroom only, we have to register separately with a new PAN. Now the question is, he's a proprietor, Mr. A. Mr. A means a person. Now, can one person have two PANs? Do you think that is possible? That is illegal. One proprietor should have, one person should have only one PAN. So with one PAN, he cannot have two businesses under composition. So he should go to regular scheme, and he cannot have two PANs, so that he will do one PAN ready-made garment showroom and one PAN consulting firm, not permitted. PAN is identified with one person. So if he is one person, individual proprietor, then he can take only one PAN, two PANs not possible. Oh, yes, composition can have of same PAN, not for one. Yes, that is also correct. Okay. So we'll go to the answer, question number 6. Aggregate turnover includes all supplies made by all the persons registered under the single PAN. Exempt supply is included in the definition of aggregate turnover, and non-taxable supply is included in the definition of exempt supply. Hence, non-taxable supply is also included in aggregate turnover. And this is only just to give you information. Now, main issue is service providers are not eligible for composition. If they are service providers, then you have to go. The service providers are not eligible for our composition, that they should not be doing goods and services. Services permitted up to the limit of 5%. Okay. So Mr. A is providing services in consultancy firms, hence he is not eligible for composition, which means if he's providing services, it should be purely services. There cannot be any goods. If a business is eligible, so he cannot have two PANs, so he cannot go for composition under this. Okay. So Mr. A is not eligible for composition only for showroom, because one PAN, he can do only one thing. Had it been a company, then they can take separate registration and do it. In this case also, he can take separate registrations. PAN will be same, but separate registrations is possible. Then he opts for composition scheme for services of that consultancy firm, and he takes another registration for goods, and then it takes a composition scheme. So that is possible, otherwise not. Okay. Now take the second question. If instead of consulting agency, if Mr. A is running a restaurant, whether he is eligible for composition? Yes, then he'll be eligible for composition because even restaurant services are covered under composition scheme. So if he's doing restaurant services and ready-made garment, then he can avail the composition scheme benefits. See, even that is service, but only restaurant service is the one service which is there under composition scheme. So in that case, it is possible. Third one, if the turnover of garment showroom is 140 lakhs in the preceding financial year and there is no consulting firm, whether he is eligible for composition, saying that he is not doing any services, he's only doing garment business, will he be eligible then? Yes, simple. Mr. A will be eligible. Then that limit does not exceed 150 lakhs. So in that case, it will be possible. Okay. Now, question number 7, I'll take the question here itself and answer also here. Correct, Mansa. Your answer is right. Eligible for 10, but consulting service up to 10.2 lakhs are available. That's fine. Correct. If he's opting for single business, then it's not eligible. If he takes separate registration, then it will be eligible. For 1C, he can opt composition. Yes. 7th, so C question, he can opt for composition. Now, 7th question, Mr. A is obtained a registration of casual taxable person to make a display in exhibition. His turnover from the exhibition is 15 lakhs. Okay. Less than 1.5 crores. Now, whether he is eligible for composition, everybody will see the answer. Yes. It's a simple thing just to brush your classes on composition is why I'm giving the answers here also. Mr. A is not eligible for composition as casual taxable person are specifically excluded from composition scheme. They come from one state to another state and take the registration. And that's the reason the composition scheme benefit is not available to casual taxable person. So just imagine of these questions with some examples. If you go to exhibition, will somebody charge you a composition scheme? No, they will not charge. They will charge full charge. So exhibition is to be linked to a casual taxable person. He will have to collect full tax and not a composition tax. Question number 7. Now question number 8. Mr. A is registered in Rajasthan, who is selling goods from Rajasthan to Gujarat. And turnover of Mr. A is 73 lakhs in the preceding financial year. Whether Mr. A is eligible for composition. Right. Whether if he's eligible, fine, then no questions are. If he's not eligible, on what basis are you saying he's not eligible? Question not visible. Question number 8 is visible. Rohini, your answer is correct on question number 7. Question number 7, yes. Answer question number 8. Yeah, Bhargavi. In B question, Mr. A can avail composition for both garment and restaurant in the same financial year. He can avail both composition, both for garment and restaurant in the same year. Yes, that is possible. Parth, your answer is correct. Nidhi Parekh, what is your question? Please ask your question again. Casual and non-resident taxable person, both are not eligible for Section 10. That's right. Rupesh Bhimani, in trading business, while sale With GST, customer pay, and in share market, less GST, receive money in account. Not clear on your question? Good. Saurabh, Harsh, Rohini, Somesh, Renuka, Rekha Kumari, Namrata, Ankit Verma, everybody is given correct answer. Kushia, your answer is wrong. Hayasiri, Shivangini Singh, Gausigan Venkatesh, your answer is wrong. Kushi, Kankari, Preeti Pal. Yeah, most of you all given correct answer that he is not eligible for composition. Okay, Mr. A is not eligible for composition as he's making interstate outward supply. So a person who's having turnover less than 1.5 crores but is making any interstate supply is not eligible for composition. Whether the answer will change if Mr. A is making purchases from Gujarat and selling goods in Rajasthan. Mr. A is making purchases from Gujarat, so he's making interstate purchases. Then he is eligible for composition as there is a restriction on outward interest supply and not on inward supply. Okay, not on inward interstate supply. He can buy from Gujarat and sell in Rajasthan. That is permitted because he's been making only a interstate purchases and not making a interstate outward supply. Okay. Okay. Let me not show you this. Mr. A is a non-resident taxable person and is running a ready-made garment showroom in Rajasthan. Turnover for the preceding financial year is 70 lakhs. Whether he is eligible for composition, somebody has just answered that a casual taxable person and a non-resident cannot opt for composition. So even if his turnover is less than 70 lakhs, he cannot opt for composition scheme. Mr. A is a dealer who is selling goods which are leviable to GST, exempted goods and non-taxable goods. His turnover in the preceding year is 110 lakhs of liable to GST, 20 lakhs which is exempted goods and 30 lakhs which are non-taxable goods. Okay, respectively, whether A is eligible for composition scheme. Nidhi Parekh, your question, what is the difference between interstate inward supply and interstate outward supply? There's a lot of difference. Interstate inward supply means interstate, what I purchase, what I procure. But interstate outward supply means what I sell. So there is a lot of difference. Interstate outward supply, if you're making, then you're not eligible for composition. But if you're making inward interstate supply, then you're eligible for composition. So it makes a lot of difference there. Yoga Selvi, what should I explain again? Mr. 10, Ria, you're saying yes, he's eligible for composition. On what basis? Yes, Jaspreet, tell me what did you get in question number 10? Parth, your answer is correct. Yoga Selvi, enna explain panno innovati. Rekha Kumari, your answer is correct. Exempt and non-taxable supply not allowed for composition scheme. No, it is allowed. It is allowed. Not required to register because making exempt supply. No, in question number 12, I'm making leviable to GST also. Read the question properly. I am selling three types of goods. One is which is leviable to GST, one is exempt, and one is non-taxable. My question is not on registration. Am I eligible for composition scheme? Saurabh, your answer is right. Sunil Dubey, recheck your answer. Oh, I thought this was a very simple question, but people are confusing here. 110, 20, 30, should we add or should we not add? Jamil, Bhargavi, Shivani Singh, your answers are correct. Vivek Deshpande, Pooja Gajjar, your answers are wrong. Rupesh, your answer is wrong. Jay Gandhi, your answer is correct. Very simple thing. Aggregate turnover. What is, it had a split slide on aggregate turnover. Aggregate turnover includes all types of supplies made by all persons registered under single PAN. If a person is selling the goods which are not leviable to tax under GST, then he is not eligible to opt for composition scheme. Okay. In this case, aggregate turnover exceeds 150 lakhs. So also, there are two questions. One is not leviable to tax under GST. If a person is selling goods not tax under GST, he is not eligible. Okay. If he is just selling and something else, he will not be eligible even if his limit is 1.5 crores, below 1.5 crores. And another case in this case is his aggregate turnover is considered not only taxable turnover. Few people have taken only 110 lakhs, which is incorrect. You have to take aggregate turnover. In this case, 110, 20, 130, 130, 160. 1.6 crores he's touching. That way he's not eligible for composition scheme. Okay, two things. One, if you're making supplies which are not leviable to tax. In this case, not leviable to tax was 30 lakhs. So straight away he's not eligible. Another reason is if he's crossing 1.5 crores, not eligible, that 1.5 crores will be aggregate turnover. Okay. Let's go through the next question. By the time few people, I'll answer your questions. Mr. A, just go through question number 9. Mansa, the question, why Act permit composition dealers from outside state? I think the reason for this is that tax is already paid by seller. Plus, in government, whoever buyer doesn't impact taxes, right? That's why, but they want to avoid anybody selling interstate. If I sell interstate also, I'll collect tax, being a composition supplier. But there's given a specific restriction there saying that if you're an interstate, I will not give you any composition scheme. That's all. You can make any purchases from interstate, no problem. Even if you purchase local, same logic, the supplier will pay GST. But the government is not bothered on that. They're saying that they are given this restriction that if you're making interstate supply, you're not eligible for composition. Question number 11 is Mr. A is selling goods through e-commerce operator and his turnover is 71 lakhs. Whether he is eligible for composition. Okay. Most of you all have given correct answer. Mr. A is selling goods through e-commerce operator since it's specifically excluded that a composition dealer cannot do any transaction through e-commerce operators. If he's doing transactions through e-commerce operator, he's not eligible to opt for composition scheme. So he will take a regular registration. A person has 2 establishments. Okay. This is a question related to registration, but it relates to composition also. That's the reason I'm putting it here. A person has 2 establishments, one in Uttarakhand and one in Rajasthan. The turnover in Rajasthan is 60 lakhs and turnover in Uttarakhand is 30 lakhs. He wants to opt for composition scheme in Rajasthan. Whether he can do so. Composition scheme, the limit is 1.5 crores. But in case of special category states, it is 75 lakhs. Uttarakhand is one of those special category states. So can he opt for composition in Rajasthan? In Rajasthan, the limit is 1.5 crores. Not eligible as Uttarakhand limit applies 75 lakhs, but in Uttarakhand, I'm doing only 30 lakhs. One state belongs to special category states. Yes, special category state is there, but my turnover in special category state is less than that limit. Then why you are saying no? Ankit Verma and Parth. Rupesh, why should I take regular registration, not a composition in Rajasthan? Yes, question number 12. Yes, he can do so. His turnover is in limit in both the states, but he should have separate registration for both. Yes, he will take separate registration, no problem. But can he still opt for composition? Very good answer, Jamil. In Uttarakhand, the limit is 75 lakhs. And if a person opts for composition in one state, then he has to opt for composition in all the states. Say he opts for composition in Uttarakhand, then he has to opt compulsory in Rajasthan also. But to opt for Rajasthan, we have to again see the aggregate turnover. Okay, the aggregate turnover for Uttarakhand will cross because there they will see the aggregate turnover. Okay, which is crossing 75 lakhs. In this, it's crossing 90 lakhs. So he cannot take in Uttarakhand. If he cannot take in Uttarakhand, then in all other states he cannot take. Okay, so if a person is having a registration in any special category states, then he has to be very careful. That limit will apply for all other states. It will not be independent because you have to see the aggregate turnover. So, agar Uttarakhand is taking, even though I try to confuse people saying that Uttarakhand is less than 75 lakhs, but you have to see the turnover across. You have to see the aggregate turnover and not only the turnover in that state. Okay, so since his aggregate turnover on his PAN number is exceeding 75 lakhs, therefore he cannot opt for composition scheme for the state of Uttarakhand. Since he cannot opt for composition in Uttarakhand, he cannot opt for composition in Rajasthan as well. Okay. So question number 12 clear. I'll just pop up question number 13 so that you can check this. Can we include alcoholic liquor for human consumption as non-goods? Yes, non-taxable goods. I think no, because this item is excluded from the Act. Alcohol liquor can cover from GST, hence it will not be considered under aggregate. It is non-taxable. It is out of scope, so that also has to be considered as non-taxable goods itself. Thirteen, yes, we'll answer this clearly. Yes, Arshita, you can depend on these intermediate classes. Definitely make use of the presentations, go through the study materials. That is good enough. Yeah, that's the reason the problem solving sessions are there, to give you practical insights. Very good. 75 applies in all and aggregate also. Correct. So question number 13, Mr. Kumar is a registered supplier of Chennai, has received the following amounts in respect of his activities. Amount charged for service provided to recognized sports body as a selector of national team. Commission received as an insurance agent from insurance company. Amount charged as business correspondent for the services provided to the urban bank of a nationalized bank with respect to savings bank's account. Services to foreign diplomatic mission. So much service is providing. He's providing funeral services also. He received the services from unregistered GTA for his business activities relating to serial numbers 1 to 2 and paid freight of 45,000. His aggregate turnover in the previous year was 9,90,000. All the transactions are intra-state transactions and are all exclusive of GST. You are required to calculate the gross value of taxable supply on which GST is to be paid by Mr. Kumar for the month of September 20. And working note should form part of your answer. Okay, so let's start answering this. Okay. Question number 13, computation of gross taxable turnover. Supplies on which GST is payable under forward charge first, because we know that one service is received from a freight agency. So that will be under reverse charge. So let's bifurcate so that the examiner knows that you know what is under forward charge and what is under reverse charge. Supplies on which GST is payable under forward charge. Amount charged to recognize sports body as a selector of a national team. Is it taxable or exempt? It is taxable because selector of a national team, you don't get any exemption. You get exemption only if you're coach or anything like that, but not as a selector. So selector of a national team, taxable. Commission received as an insurance agent, is it taxable? On which GST is payable under forward charge? No. On insurance agent services, will be paid by the insurance company. It is under reverse charge. So it will not be your turnover. It will not be your supplies on which GST is payable. Bank correspondent to urban branch of a nationalized bank. Is it taxable or exempt? You have to write a note also, okay, in the exam, saying either write it in the row itself or write notes and write it below, saying that this person is providing business correspondence services to an urban branch of a nationalized bank. Okay, had it been rural branch, then it is exempt. But if for an urban branch, it is taxable. That's the reason I've included here, mention a note below itself saying that services provided to nationalized branch of an urban branch is taxable. Okay, so that's why it is taxable and included here. Then service to a foreign diplomatic mission. Okay, service to a foreign diplomatic mission is taxable, not exempted. Funeral services provided. On funeral services, it is exemption. So that's why on funeral services, not taxable. Then supplies on which GST is payable under reverse charge. We know that his services received from GTA is 45,000 rupees. So on that 45,000 rupees, he has to pay GST under reverse charge basis. Okay. He is a registered supplier. So the turnover limit, what is given in 9,90,000 the previous year, is it relevant? Not relevant, because he is already registered, then the turnover does not apply. So we have seen that 7 category of cases that if one of the categories, if you're registered under GST, if you're registered under GST, you have to pay reverse charge. So service received from GTA, 45,000, this is the value. So total value of taxable supplies on which GST is payable is forward charge plus reverse charge, which makes it 1,38,000. Mr. Harsh, I'm getting your comments, but what are your questions? Okay, clear with this question and answer? Exemptions, taxable, reverse charge, all put it in one question itself. Okay, so people who want to, who are writing can write this. If he's unregistered, then what will be the answer? If he's unregistered, right, then what, when he's receiving the freight services? In this case, he's charging so much, right? It means he will have to register and pay it. So once he's registered, then automatically he will be paying his GST under RCM. So had he not been providing any of these output services and not charging GST, then he will not pay GST under RCM. But since he's providing these output services and charging GST, he will be registered, and it is clearly mentioned he's registered. So he has to pay GST under RCM. Point 4, what is the reason? First, second, third, fourth. Service to a foreign diplomatic mission. Just because it's given a foreign diplomatic mission, just don't get carried away. In our exemption, we have not said that you're providing services to a foreign diplomatic mission, so it is exempted. That's not the case. Why 2 and 5 are not recorded? Because it is payable 2 and 5, it is under RCM. So services of RCM. Okay. So the service receiver have to pay, not the provider. And I am a provider of services. I will not charge any GST. What we have been asked, supplies on which you will pay GST under forward charge. I will not pay. My insurance company will pay it. Funeral service, why is it not considered? Because it is exempt under section 12 of 2017. Central tax rate. Okay, all exemption is under 12 of 2017. So you just mention that notification and you're clear. So should we remember exemption notification? One exemption notification, if you remember, so much all your exemption of services gets covered under it. So just remember that one exemption notification. Clear? Let's move to the next question. Question number 14. Gentle Industries, a registered supplier of machinery, supplied a special purpose machine to Dharam Furnishers, for which it charges a price of 9 lakh rupees. Okay. Now, further, it charged the additional amounts in relation to the set supply. What all did it charge? Transit insurance, packing charges, extra charges for designing the machine, and freight. Following additional information is also available. Cash discount at 2% on price of the machinery has been allowed to Dharam Industries, Dharam Furnishers at the time of supply, and also recorded in the invoice. Okay. GST rate is 18%. Calculate the value of supply for the special purpose machine. Simple, very simple question. Now, few students had said that whether should I listen or work out. Please work out this. I'll give you 2 minutes time. Mansa, yes, commission becomes part of the buyer's aggregate turnover. Correct. Saurabh, your answer is 9,60,000. Okay, let me see. Any more answers? Only one person giving an answer. One lakh 68,210. Can't be so much of the difference. They're just asking value of supply. What will be the value of the supply, not the GST value? Question number 14. Price of the machinery is 9 lakh rupees. Add transit insurance, add packing charges, and add extra design charges. Okay. Add freight, then cash discount on the price of the machinery. Simple. On the price of the machinery is 9 lakh rupees. On that 18.2% discount, which makes it 9 lakh 60,000. Okay. Not rupees 9 lakh, other amounts what is people have given. So if they've asked value, just stop your question, answers at the value itself. Clear with this? Very simple question. Question number 15. Single brothers registered in Uttarakhand and supplies 30 tons of chemical at 50,000 rupees per ton. This is also an valuation, but little twist is there in this. The invoice for the supply has also been issued on the same date. Further, following additional amounts were charged. Okay. The invoice also issued on the same date. Now, additional amounts have been charged in terms of freight, packing charges, weighing charges. Cost of the instrument specifically purchased by single brothers to manufacture the chemical. Okay. As per the terms of the contract of supply, single brothers is required to get the chemical inspected by independent testing agency before the delivery of the same to P. P has paid such inspecting charges amounting to rupees 12,000 directly to the testing agencies. Now, single brothers also received rupees 50 lakhs as subsidy from the state government for setting up the chemical manufacturing plant in Uttarakhand. P is required to make payment within 15 days of the supply in terms of the contract. However, P delayed the payment of consideration and he's made the payment in November, thus paid rupees 15,000 as interest. You are required to calculate the GST liability in this case and due date of deposit. Rate of GST is 18%. Single brothers and P are not related, and price is the sole consideration for the supply. So they've given you all of those things, so you have to go to the valuation rules. So in this case, what will be the value? Okay, let's get into the answer of this. Question number 15. Value of the chemicals. Firstly, 30 tons at 50,000 rupees per ton. 15 lakhs. Freight, I will add. We know this. Packing charges, we will add. Weighing charges, we will add. Cost of instrument, because I bought a cost of instrument which is specifically purchased by single brothers to manufacture the chemical, specifically bought for this. So I will add this also. 3,10,000 I will add. Then I will also add inspection charges, because he's told that you have to do the inspection and he is paid directly to the inspection agency, directly to the testing agency. So any payment made on my behalf, okay, on my behalf by the recipient has to be added. So 12,000 I will add. Subsidy. Subsidy, should I reduce? No, I don't have to reduce because this is not a product linked subsidy. It's not a subsidy linked to my price of the goods. So I don't have to reduce this or do anything with this. Even though it is given by the state government, it's given to me for setting up the manufacturing plant as a whole, right? As a blanket subsidy. That's what is called as blanket subsidy. So I don't have to do any addition of that. So this is my transaction value. Okay, on that, this is my transaction value, addition of all of that. GST on that is 18%. Now interest. How much is the interest they have paid me? They paid me interest of 15,000 rupees, which means that I will not charge GST on that. They have made payment and paid 15,000 as a whole. So I have to gross it up. 15,000 15,000 into first divided by 118 into 100 will give me the value of 12,702. Okay, 12,702 into 18% makes it 2288. So we'll see that if we add both, you'll get 15,000, right? So gross it up wherever you've got a money inclusive of GST. Okay, here he's paid interest of 15,000, which means it is inclusive of GST. So gross it up, 12,702 is what the value will get. And this is the GST. So September, 3,83,000 has to be paid. Due date is 20th October. But payment was made in November, and we know for interest when is the time of supply is on actual receipt in November when we have received. By the next month we will pay. So on 2028, the due date is 20th December. Okay, but major assumption is it is assumed that he's a monthly taxpayer, right? That's why otherwise it will be paying on a quarterly basis. Don't add 15,000 to the value. 15,000 is the interest received. Okay. On 15,000, you don't have to add it again. The value of supply is this, but payment of taxes is on separate dates. Inspection charges would be inclusive of GST? No, inspection charges would not be inclusive of GST because that's the value of the supply. Only for cases of interest, it will be exclusive of GST. Transaction value kahan se aaya? 3,83,760. What is 3,86,760? That is not that. This is the transaction value. 21,32,000 is the transaction value, and 3,83,760 is the GST on that. Okay, they've asked you that the GST. That's why on the transaction value, you have to calculate the GST. तो ये जो वैल्यू है उसके ऊपर मैं 18% लगाऊंगा तो GST आएगा. We'll take a break here. If you have any questions on this, just ask. Otherwise, we'll take a break. We'll come back at 7:25. Okay. Yeah, welcome back. We'll discuss on the question again. This was displayed again on valuation. The Rosary Private Limited, a registered supplier, is engaged in supplying the taxable service liable to GST at 18%. Compute the value of taxable supply and the GST which is payable by it for the month of July 2018 from the information provided below. Advance received for which no service has been rendered so far, 8 lakh rupees. Demurrage charges recovered from use of services beyond the agreed period, 89,000. Security deposits forfeited for damages done by service receiver owing to his negligence in the course of receiving a service, not due to unforeseen actions, 5 lakhs. Beside the above receipts, one of the clients, SBS, made a payment of 1,45,000 rupees, out of which 20,000 are paid extra by mistake. However, Rosary Limited refused to return the excess payment received. So what will be the value of supply in this case? What is the value? So again, valuation questions are very simple and has to be answered very quickly. Transaction value 15,09,000. Okay. Close. 7,09,000 will be the value because on 8 lakh the service is not received and the extra 25,000 is also not refunded. So no, 7,09,000 is not the correct answer. Okay. So I start with the answer. Somebody is working out. Fifteen lakh 34,000, 16 lakh 39,000, 7 lakh 34,000. Such a big range difference. Last 1 minute. 15,34,000. Very close. $15,34,000 is the right answer. How? See this. Advance received on which services has not been rendered, right? So does it mean that no GST on that? GST is there on advance received for supply of services, correct? So on 8 lakhs, GST is payable on advance. Demurrage charges received on that, GST is payable. Security deposits, generally on deposits we don't pay GST, but this it is forfeited for damages done, which means I have converted the deposit into application of service. So I have to add that. So deposit I will add. Payment from SBS Limited made a payment of 1,45,000. And I have said that I will not return it. If I return it, then I will reduce. But if I'm telling I will not return, okay, then it means it is a value of supply itself that also has to be added. So 1,45,000 is added, 15,34,000 is the value. Value of taxable supply is inclusive of GST. Why? Because these are the values and not the supply transaction. Okay. So GST has to be calculated very properly here. I've received the advance of 8 lakhs. I'm not collecting anything in addition to that. Demurrage charges, I have recovered for use of the services beyond the agreed period. So our recovered means I've recovered inclusive of GST itself. If I've charged something, then it will be exclusive of GST. If I've recovered something, it will be inclusive of GST. And security deposit is that amount is already I got it. I cannot charge additional GST on that. Further, from on this, I made a payment of 1,45,000. So from the wordings, we can get to know that I made a payment of 1,45,000. Okay, which means it is all inclusive of GST. So all of this is inclusive of GST. So we have to do a gross working up and get the value of service and GST. So even 15,34,000 is not right. The value of service when you cross up, it comes to 13 lakhs. 13 lakhs and GST payable is 18% on that. Okay. So not all questions they will tell inclusive of GST or inclusive of GST. From the wordings, we'll have to find out and make out whether it is inclusive of GST or not. So consider only 1,45,000 is inclusive. No, everything is inclusive of GST. Why 25,000 is inclusive of GST? Which 25,000? Of which 25,000 are paid extra. So he's paid the money. That is the amount what he's paid, right? So whatever amount he's paid, he will not pay anything extra. And you're not charging him anything above that. That's not the value of the taxable supply. That's the total amount what you have received. So it is, when I say I raise an invoice, then it is excluding GST. But when I collect something, I've collected something, which means on that GST is received, right? So I will you should always treat that value when you say it is received, means it is inclusive of GST itself. So you have to gross it up. Okay. Now we'll go to next question. Question number 17. Krishna Private Limited, registered dealer, furnishes the following information referring to goods sold. All on valuations, yes, but various types of questions, right? Hope you're enjoying. How will we know if it is included in GST? By the question itself. So by the question itself, you'll get to know that it is inclusive of GST, is engaged in supplying of taxable service leviable, compute the value of taxable supply and GST payable, advance received. So advance, when it is received, it means it is inclusive of GST. Demurrage charges recovered means you are recovering it. Okay, you're recovering the value. Whatever recovery you are doing, you cannot recover anything extra. So it is inclusive of GST. Security deposit, you have not collected extra, you had money with you, now you are using it, right? So you had some security deposit, which means that is inclusive of GST, because you're not raising an invoice and getting some money. If you're raising an invoice, then they'll pay you exactly the invoice value. But you already had that security deposit with you, now you're utilizing it. So it means it is the total value. Similarly, the last thing, they made a payment of 1,45,000, and they made a payment of 1,45,000. It is the payment which is made, which is inclusive of GST. Fine. So all of these values are inclusive of GST. How value of taxable supply? So it's a gross up basis. So if the value is say 5 lakh rupees inclusive of GST, so you'll do 5 lakhs divided by 118 into 100. So that's how the gross up works, because 118 means 100 plus 18, which is 118. So you'll divide this by 118 and into 100 will give you the value of taxable supply. Clear? What is the security deposit? If it is forfeited, it has a value on which GST. Okay, question number 17. Completely zoomed in. Note down this question, because when I answer, this will be reduced to half. A registered dealer furnishes the following information: price of the goods, municipal tax, inspection charges, subsidies received, late payment fees, and Balram Limited, that is, my customer has paid to Radhe Limited on behalf of me payment charges. Very simple question. One lakh 70,000. Okay, 1,68,000. So much of confusions. 1,68,000. Have you added this 2,000 Vedant? Because this is paid on behalf of the supplier by the recipient directly. This also has to be added. 1,68,000 is wrong answer. Municipal taxes also has to be added. Late fees for delayed payment. Though Sri Balram Private Limited made late payment, but these charges are waived by Sri Krishna Private Limited. So will you add that then? Correct answers from Hayasiri. Correct answer from Namrata Survey. Mansa. Parth Shah. Very few right answers, but everybody's attempted. That's a good thing. 1,19,000. No, that's wrong, Tannu. One lakh 70,000 who are answering. Be careful of this one danger zone of this 1,000. Is he collecting late fees? The late fees is there, but you have to read what is there in the bracket also very clearly. Though Sri Balram Limited made late payment, but these charges are waived off. And I waive off, I will not collect it. So this is not to be included in the value. Abhishek, your answer is also right. Okay, let's jump into the answer. Price of the goods, 1 lakh, clear. Municipal taxes has to be added because of the valuation provisions. So I will add the municipal taxes of 2,000. Okay. Then inspection charges, I will add. Subsidy receipt from Sri Ram Trust, I will add because it's not a government undertaking, not a state government or a central government. Late fees, I will not add because it has been waived off. Payment charges has to be added. So it is 1,09,000. Questions will not be uploaded now because they will be busy with something, but definitely it will be updated by Monday. Yeah, now most will be correct answer. Why 1,000 rupees will not be included? Because it has not been collected. Great. Let's get into the next question. Sun Register Supply is a wholesale supplier of ready-made garments located in Bandra, Mumbai. On 5th September, Subhadra, owner of Aura Boutique located in Dadar, approached Mehra Sons for supply of a consignment of customized dresses for ladies and kids. Subhadra hands over the check for payment on the same date. Now, the said payment is entered into the accounts on 20th September 2020 and amount is credited in the bank on 21st September 2020. Mehra Sons gets his consignment ready on 2nd December 2020 and informs Subhadra of the same. The invoice for the consignment was issued the next day, that is 3rd December 2020. Due to some reasons, Subhadra could not collect the consignment immediately, so collect the consignment from the premises of Mehra Sons on 18th December 2020. You are required to determine the time of supply of the ready-made garments supplied by Mehra Sons to Subhadra, elaborating the relevant provisions under the GST law. Just mention the time of supply. Just don't mention one date and give the answer. Say what are the various dates and what is the relevance of the dates. Then you will get complete marks for this. Why subsidy is added, Pooja? Subsidy is added because it is received from a non-government entity. Okay. And it is with respect to the price of the product. That's the reason it is being added. You got only one answer till now. Abhishek, good attempt. Correct answer. But it is supply of goods. Okay. So for supply of goods, payment is relevant or invoice is relevant. 20th, 1st September as the amount is credited in the bank account. No, that's not the right answer. Is a wholesale supply of ready-made garments. For goods, what will be the time of supply? Don't get confused. No, no, no. Everybody is referring to payment received. But question number 18 is not for supply of services, it is supply of goods. Apply notification number 66. The time of supply of goods is the earlier of the due date, okay, which is date of issue of the invoice or date of receipt of payment. However, notification number 66, condition given, part B has been relaxed. So in nutshell, time of supply will be the date of issue of invoice or the date of due date of issue of invoice. In this case, the invoice is not issued on time. So in this case, the invoice is issued before movement of the goods, right? In case of goods, we said the invoice has to be issued at before the goods moves out, which has been done here, wherein the goods has been dispatched later on, right? Consigned ready by 2nd December and informs that she's taken the consignment on 18 December, but invoice is raised on 3rd December. So time of supply is the date of time of supply is the date of issue of invoice, which is 3rd December. Why did so many people get confused? Only one person. Rohini and Saurabh. Only two people have answered correctly. Don't get confused. There's so many stories written, but all of that is not relevant for you. Only thing what is relevant is the date of issue of invoice. Is a wholesale supply of ready-made garments, which means it is good. Please repeat the time of supply point. The time of supply in case of issue of goods is two things. As per the law, there are two things, but we know notification number 16 waived off that one condition of time of supply on receipt of advance. So in case of supply of goods, it is earliest of issue of invoice or the due date when it should be issued. So when is the due date of issue of invoice? Not 30 days or 60 days. That is for services. For goods, where the movement involves, where it is cleared from your godown, when it is moved out of your premises, okay, that case, it is when you move the goods out. Before that, you have to issue the invoice. In this case, the goods were cleared on 18 December, but he's raised the invoice on 3rd December itself. So the time of supply is 3rd December. Goods are ready for dispatch but not dispatched. So invoice need not be raised when they are ready for dispatch. It should be raised before a date when it is actually dispatched. Yes, your supply involves movement of goods. Correct. Okay. Let's get to the next question. Kabira Industries Limited engaged the services of a transporter for road transport agency of a consignment on 7th June and made advance payment for the transporter on same day, that is 7th June. However, the consignment could not be sent immediately on account of a strike in the factory and instead was sent on 20th July. Invoice was received from the transporter on 22nd July. What is the time of supply of the transporter's services? This is a case of supply of service. Be careful. Whatever we had discussed in previous question was supply of goods. Here it is supply of services. And not only that point, second point has to be noted is supply of services with reverse charge. So in reverse charge, what are the pointers we have to consider? Please note down. Please note those things and then answer. Okay, so most of you are saying theoretically correct that it should be 60 days from the date of invoice or advance payment, right? Time of supply is 7th for advance payment 22. So 7th June, some people are saying 20th July. The actual time is date of payment or 60 days from the date of invoice. In this case, advance payment is made on 7th June, right? That will be the relevant date. As per section 13.3, time of supply of services taxable under reverse charge is the earliest of the following. Date of payment, which is 60 days from the date of invoice. Here the invoice is issued on whether there's a strike or anything. You have already made the payment. So that will be the date of advance payment, 7th June. And 60 days, had this date been some other date, then what will be 60 days counted from received from the transporter? Invoice is received on 22nd July. So from 22nd July, 60 days will come on 20th September. So either 20th September or 7th June, whichever is earlier, will be treated as time of supply. So time of supply is 7th June. Okay. How can some people tell 22nd July and things? No, those are things are not relevant. 20th July will never be the date. within 60 days from that 20th September or 7th June. Actual invoice date will not be written. Date of rendering of service is 22nd July itself. So even though, date of rendering the service was on 20th July, they rendered it on 20th July. But that will not be relevant at all. When you raise an invoice, then it has to be raised within 30 days. But if you get an invoice, then payment of RCM has to be made within 60 days from that date of invoice. Okay. Question number 20. Classic Textiles purchases a needle detecting machine paying GST at 18% for rupees 10 lakh rupees, excluded of GST. So they are given clearly. It availed the input services of GST paid on machinery and started using its machine for manufacture of goods. The machine was sold on 18th October. I think this we have covered. 20th we have covered last class. We have done this calculation and we have done this quarters reversal and all. So 20th is done. 21st. The garment factory received a government order for making uniforms for a commando unit. The supply is exempt from tax under a special notification. So exemption question. The fabric is separately procured for the supply, but thread and lining material for the collars are ones which are used for taxable products of the factory. So this question on exempt and taxable supply and how do you do the bifurcation. The turnover of the other products of the factory are exempted uniforms in July is 4 crores and 1 crore respectively. The ITC on thread and lining material is 5,000 and 15,000. Calculate the eligible ITC. Here you don't have to do rule 42, 43, but simple reversal of ITC. Okay. th September, 21st September, 20th September will be the date. So here, not much, but something to discuss. Thread and lining materials are inputs which are used for making taxable as well as exempt supply. Okay, that's what they've said. Thread and lining materials for collars are the ones which are used for both for the collars. Okay, now thread and lining materials are input which are used for both making taxable and exempt supply. Therefore, credit on such items will be apportioned and credit attributed to exempt supply will be added to the output tax liability. Now, what is the credit attributable to exempt supply? Common credit. This is the calculation what we have to do. Now, what is the common credit? They've said that the supplies are exempt as well as taxable goods. The fabric is separately procured for the supply, but thread and lining materials for the collars are the ones which are used for other taxable products of the factory, which means thread and lining material is commonly used. Now, the supply, what they use, fabric they use separately, but thread and lining will be common for both. Now, what is the common credit? 5,000 plus 15,000, 20,000. Now, exempt turnover they're given for this month is 1 crore and total exempt turnover is 1 crore and total turnover is 1 plus 4, 5 crores. So credit attributable to exempt supply is 20,000 into 1 by 4 crores, 4,000. So from my total credit of 20,000, I will reduce the ineligible credit because this credit is attributable to exempt supply. If I reduce that, balance is the eligible credit. So my eligible credit is 16,000 rupees. Clear? Very simple. Don't have to get into 42 and 43. When simple question like this is given, you will do a turnover basis calculation and do the reversal. Very good. 4,000 ITC is ineligible. So balance eligible ITC is 16,000. Yeah, instead of writing 13.3, you can just write 13 also. That is also permitted. That is also fine, Mansa. You don't need so much of subsection answering at this level. Question 22, Abhishek, ITC is 20,000, but common credit has to be reversed. 20,000, 4:1 ratio. That is also right. Will exam come in question like this only? Yes, it will come like this itself, wherein it will be simple when you see it now, but when you set in your exam hall, that will be a little complicated. Okay, let's go to the next question now. Shubhalakshmi Foods is engaged in supplying restaurant services in Maharashtra. In the preceding financial year, it has a turnover of 140 lakhs from the restaurant service. You are required to advise Shubhalakshmi Foods whether it is eligible for composition scheme in the current year, assuming that in the current financial year, his turnover is expected to be 130 lakhs from supply of restaurant services and 10 lakhs from supply of farm labor in the said state. Further, it also expects a bank interest of 20 lakhs from the fixed deposits. Also compute the estimated tax payable by Subbalakshmi in the current financial year. Very good question. A composition scheme, whether he is eligible to go for composition scheme or no. Correct answer, Pooja. Aggregate turnover 140 lakhs eligible. What basis? The person who's doing these three kinds of services, the two third is trader, manufacturer, and restaurant services provider. Restaurant service provider also, he can do services only up to 5% of the turnover. So whether this is fitting under that 5% is what you have to see. Marginal services provided, which is 10% of the turnover in the preceding financial year, or 5 lakhs, whichever is earlier. So whichever is higher. So I will do a comparison and then see, just don't see the turnover blindly. So previous year's turnover is how much? 140 lakhs. Okay. 140 lakhs into 10%, which makes it 40 lakhs. So 14 lakhs or 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. So services eligible is, other than this restaurant services eligible as 14 lakhs. Now in this, interest also is there. Should we add that? No, interest earned of FD is not to be considered. So 14 lakhs or 5 lakhs, whichever is higher, which makes it 14 lakhs. So rate of composition or the restaurant services is 5%. Now taxable turnover is 140 lakhs. On 140 lakhs, you will pay 2.5% and not only on 130 lakhs, because you will have to calculate on the taxable turnover, tax payable on the total turnover, okay, which is 130 lakhs plus 10 lakhs. On 140 lakhs, you'll pay at 2.5%, 2.5%. Okay. You are supposed to remember the rate of composition supplies, not the regular rate. Composition, whatever is that rate, that will be the number. 1% for trader and manufacturer and 5% for rest service provider. 20 lakhs need not be added row 1C. 20 lakhs should not be added in this calculation. Even though 10 lakhs is exempted, but since he is under composition, on the total turnover, interest need not be considered. Interest is not considered. With supply of power, it will be the same tax, but for composition, he will pay the tax he pays on it. Because the rate of because it's an exempt service, so he will not charge. Will charge the rate what you're charging as a composition. What is 14 lakhs in this question? 14 lakhs is the not there in the question. You are calculating at rate of 10%, 1 crore 40 lakhs into 10%. Okay. So rupees 140 lakhs into 10% is 14 lakhs. So what is the maximum amount of services he can provide is 14 lakhs or 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. So he can provide services up to 14 lakhs and he's provided other services of to the extent of 10 lakhs. That's permitted. The main point to be noted is that 10% has to be calculated based on turnover of the previous year, not on the turnover of this year. So you don't do 10% of 130 lakhs, you do 10% of 140 lakhs. Why 14 lakhs is required? To see whether he is eligible for compensation. Because had he brought more than 14 lakhs, then he would not have been eligible. He is provided services of only 10 lakhs, that's why he becomes. 23, again on composition. Bansal and Chandok started a partnership firm of chartered accountants in Jaipur on 1st April 2021. The firm specializes in providing audit services to the banks in Rajasthan. It provided the following details of its turnover. April to June, it is 10 lakhs, and July to September, it is 20 lakhs. Crossed the threshold limit of 20 lakhs on 1st August. Bansal and Chandok wishes to opt to pay tax at concessional rate under notification number 2 of 2019, which is basically the composition scheme of the person. Examine whether the firm is eligible for the scheme if he has to combine the tax payable by year in quarters April to June and July to September. Wow. In previous year, Camille, question on if it was mentioned that previous year was doing both the same, then he would be eligible. Yeah, he will still be eligible because for last year you'll see that last before that to see for calculating margin supply total of maximum goods in composition. Total supply. Total supply. We're paying tax on 140 lakhs on labor is but still we are paying on that also because it is our composition scheme. Once you're there on the composition, tax is payable on the total turnover. For a trader, it is separate. For a manufacturer, it is separate. So we'll get to that also, but it has to be paid on the total turnover. April to June, 10,000 Parul Bansal, 10,000 and 20,000. What basis? What is the rate you're applying? I said that when there is no rate given, the general rate is 18%. Okay. So we'll rush up now because we have very less time and we need to complete few more questions, very important questions. So I will not give you time to answer now. If you have questions, you can raise. Eligible for not required to pay tax for April to June, pay tax on 10 lakhs of June to September. Oh, that is our threshold limit. Very good. Correct answer. Okay. Question number 23. 23. Very good. 23. Bansal and Chandog. Okay. First is tax payable from April to June is nil. July to September on 10 lakhs because they are under Rajasthan. The threshold limit is 20 lakhs. So, and once they cross the limit of 20 lakhs, then they can go for composition, right? They don't have to go from day one. Now they've crossed the limit. Now they're not touched the limit of 1.5 crores. So up to that point of time, they can go for composition. So for July to September on the balance 10 lakhs, okay, they will pay at 6%, which is 60,000 is the tax. Or another method is the total turnover is 30 lakhs, reduce the threshold for registration, which is 20 lakhs on the balance payable at 6%. So 30,000 is GST, 30,000 is SGST. Clear? Very simple questions. Don't get confused here. You cannot go for the scheme. Service cross the limit of 20 lakhs. No, he can go for the scheme. He can go for the scheme, Rohini, because the limit for anybody is 50 lakhs. Up to 50 lakhs is the limit. He's not crossed the turnover of 50 lakh rupees. For services, the limit is 50 lakhs. So he's not touched the 50 lakhs. So he can go for composition scheme. Okay, question number 24. Mr. Hiralal and Sons, Messrs. Hiralal and Sons, who are registered 24, 25, 26. Three more questions. Come on, let's take it up. Hiralal and Sons, registered in Karnataka, have opted to avail the benefit of composition scheme. It has furnished the following details for the tax year 2021, 22, whatever June. Goods within the state is 15 lakhs. Exempted goods within the state is 13 lakhs. The total is 22 lakhs. Using the above information calculated by the tax period end on 30th June in the following independent. Okay, what will be your answers? Whether they are eligible for compensation or not eligible, that is not the criteria here. They have said that they have already opted to avail the benefits of composition scheme, so they are already under composition scheme. Okay, they are already under composition scheme. Now you calculate the tax payable by them. Why in question 22 140 into 10%? Because to calculate the maximum services which is possible, J. So they were allowed to do services to the extent of 140, which is turnover of previous year into 10%. So they were eligible to do services of 15 lakh, and the reason we are doing this calculation. Why you took 6% for services? For service providers, the composition rate is 6%. So to repeat, the composition rate, three rates are there. One is for trader and manufacturer, it is 1%. For a restaurant service provider, 5%. And for any other service providers, it is 6%. The threshold limit for manufacturer, trader, and hotel providers is 150 crores. For any other service providers is 50 lakhs. Okay. Correct, Parth. Your answer is correct. Jamil, your answer is correct. Hariharan, you're also right. Rohini, your answer needs to be corrected. Parul Bansal, answer is incorrect. Rekha, your answer also is incorrect. Rate of GST is 1%. That's correct. For trader and manufacturer, the rate is 1%. But we had specifically emphasized on this point to see the presentation on composition scheme that it has to be paid on what value. For a manufacturer, it is different value. For a trader, it is different value. Both the cases, ITC is not claimable. Both the cases, ITC is not claimable. Correct, Mansa. All right. Okay. Let's answer this together. If he's a manufacturer, then tax is to be paid computation of tax payable under composition scheme. If he's a manufacturer, tax is to be paid of 1% of the turnover in the state. Turnover in the state means the taxable turnover and exempt turnover. Okay, it will include both. 1% of 32 lakhs, which makes it 32,000. On that, 16,000 is CGST, 16,000 is SGST. If Hirala and Sons is a trader, then tax is to be paid on 1% of the taxable supplies only. Okay, then it will be 1% of 15 lakhs, which makes it only 15,000, 7,500 and 7,500. Okay, clear with this? So that's the difference between a manufacturer and a trader. Okay, so even in composition, the rate is same, but the value on which you calculate the GST is different. For a manufacturer, it is on the turnover in a state. For a trader, it is taxable supplies. Okay, so you'll consider only taxable supplies. You will not consider the exempt turnover. Question number 25. Agrocare Limited registered under GST furnishes the following details in respect of activities undertaken by them in the month of March 2021. Okay, the big question. Receipt from supply of farm labor, charges for seed testing. Okay, instead of reading this, what I do for a bigger questions, I'll just go to the question, the answers, and see whether it is taxable or non-taxable. Okay, so let's do this together. Receipt from farm labor. So there are clearly few things, there are nothing much of notes given. So I will not tell you to see the notes, read the question altogether. When the question is clear, they are just telling you to calculate the value of taxable supplies for the month of March. So you just have to go item by item and see whether it is exempt or taxable. Receipt from supply of farm labor. Receipt from supply of farm labor is exempted. Entry numbers have given it for your reference, but you don't have to remember the entry number. Receipt of supply from farm labor is exempted. Charges for seed testing. Okay, seed testing is also exempted. Any seed testing work will be exempted. Charges for soil testing of farmland, that is also exempted. The farmer gets lots of benefits, but you have to be clear what is exempted, what is taxable. Charges for seed testing is also exempted. Charges for soil testing of farmland is also exempted. Charges for warehousing of potato chips. Warehousing of potato, had it been, it is exempted, but potato chips becomes a secondary product. Only on primary products, warehousing is exempted, but warehousing of potato chips is a secondary product that is taxable. Okay. Charges for warehousing of potato chips is taxable. Commission received on sale of wheat. Sale of wheat is exempted. Okay. Sale of wheat. And because also we said Commission charges, that is APMC, we said, no, whatever is done at the APMC yard when a commission agent finds a seller and buyer, that is also exempted. So commission received on sale of wheat is exempted. Charges for training of farmers. So he has provided training on use of new pesticides and fertilizers developed under scientific research, that is also exempted. So services provided to farmers is also exempted. Then renting of vacant lot to stud farm. Stud farm means a horse rearing farm. Rearing of horses is specifically excluded. Had it been rearing of cows, goats, sheep, anything, then it is exempted. But renting of vacant land to stud farms is taxable. Then leasing of vacant land to cattle farm, right? So your cattle farm is exempted, your stud farm is taxable. Charges for warehousing of rice is exempted. Charges for warehousing of cotton fabrics. Cotton, had it been, it's fine, but cotton fabrics is taxable. Retail packing and labeling of fruits and vegetables. Okay, fruits and vegetables is exempted. So retail packing and labeling of fruits and vegetables are exempted. Charges for warehousing of minor forest products. So we discussed this, that minor forest product is also exempted. Then charges for warehousing of spices is also exempted. Spices, fruits and vegetables, minor forest produce are all exempted. Okay, so the value of taxable supply is 4,70,000 rupees. So more than the answer, what is exempted, you have to remember and then write it. Not much of explanation. You can just write exempted by notification number 17. But what is not exempted also, if you tell exempted and you give notification number correct also, that will not be the right answer because it should actually be exempted. So if you remember the exemptions through the writings what had given through the slides, that will be really helpful for you to understand this. Okay. I'll just show you this so that you're clear on this. Why retail packing exempt? It's not primary, but still retail packing of fruits and vegetables is exempted, not any other things. Fruits and vegetables, primary or secondary, both are exempted. Because of fruits, हम जो खा रहे हैं, उसके ऊपर tax लगाएंगा, तो government, everybody will start cursing them. So fruits and vegetables, understand, is exempted. Yeah, any questions on this? Please ask. Refrigerators in warehouse, Samsung company in packaging, all while in showroom display. This exempt question, you are clear? Yes. This gave you complete idea. No? That's why exempted will not be only one small thing, but it will be multiple questions also like this. Okay, we'll go to the next question. Let me see some doubts on this question. Okay, question number 26. Vivita and Company, a registered dealer in Ludhiana, furnishes this is the last question. He furnishes the following details of purchases and sale pertaining to the month of July 2021. Good A, purchase from local market, including GST at 12%. So this is including GST at 12%. 50,400. Good B, purchase from Jaipur, including IGST at 15%. 82,600. Sales made during the month to dealer of Kolkata. Okay. For products, goods A, 40,000, goods B, 25,000. Sales made within the state of goods B, 35,000. Above sales amount given is exclusive of GST. Compute the net CGST, SGST, and IGST liability and input tax credit, if any, for the month of July 2021. Calculate the net GST payable. I want you to work out this question because it's a little. If a register for some manufacturer also is taxable too. There's four words which are not taxable to 19 lakhs for Delhi. Yes, but Mansur, when you take this registration topic, that time you will have clarity on this. So consider that. But yes, according to me, registration has to be because total turnover is. Excess unsold goods. Rupesh, excess unsold goods under input tax can be paid. Yes, because that is stock lying with you and you have used the goods to make sale itself, right? So what is the good for sale? So you can. Yes, guys, let's work out this question at the end. Yes, you'll be required to register, but not liable to pay tax on digital category state. Correct. Correct part. Jamil, your answers are correct. Input credit approximately 11,000. So many confusions. Okay. Vivita and Company is a registered dealer in Ludhiana. Okay. Interstate sales he's doing of goods A. We know the rate of goods on goods A is purchased at 12%. So rate of tax on 40,000 will be 12%. So on 12%, 40,000 into 12%, he's made the supply to Kolkata per buyer. So it is IGST. IGST 4,800. Goods B 25,000. 25,000 into 18% makes it as 4,500. Now intrastate sale, I've made goods B for 35,000. So 35,000 into 18%, 9 and 9, 3,150 and 3,150, which makes it as a total output tax of this much. Okay, so this is my total output tax. Now my input tax is how much? On goods A, I purchased 50,000 locally, okay, including GST. So I have to gross it up on 50,400 divided by 112 into 12. What does it come as? 50,400 divided by 112 into 112. 50 divided by 112 into 12 makes it as 5,400. So goods A I've procured locally, which means I have CGST and SGST, 5,400 divided by 2. Then goods B, 82,600. Again, this is including GST of 118 into 118. This is the 12,600 is the IGST credit, right? Now I have payable of 9,300. I will use this fully 12,600 here. Okay, IGST fully I will use ITC of IGST. First I will use IGST against IGST. Balance I will use in the same proportion because I don't have any opening balance. I have both credits equally. So I'm utilizing it as the same proportion. Then I will pay off CGST. How much credit I have? 2,700. Out of 2,700, I will utilize 1,500. So how much is my input credit left? 2,700 minus 1,500. 1,200 is the credit left. And then I will utilize ITC of SGST. SGST I will utilize with SGST itself. Correct? So how much I will utilize? So I have paid amount fully out of 3,150. I have utilized IGST of 1,650. Balance payable of 1,500. I have utilized from the CGST credit. Right? So out of this 2,700, I have dispersed of 1,500. Leftover is 1,200 CGST, 1,200 is GST. Okay. So no tax payable and ITC is 1,200 and 1,200. 5,990. No Rekha Kumari. Input tax credit approximately 11,000. No approximate. Still the correct answer. Sunil Dubey, your answer is not correct. Oh my God. Oh my God. No, it's not excluding GST, it's including GST. How 1,500 came? 1,500 came as 3,150 is payable. I've utilized IGST here, 1,650. So 3,150 minus 1,650 makes it 1,500. So my payable is 1,500. I have credit of 2,700. So I will pay 1,500 from the CGST credit. Okay. And that is how this 1,500 has comes here. Clear with this question? If you're clear with this question, most of your GST input credit offset you know. You have written 12, it should be 18% for goods B. For goods B, it is 18%, sir. For here, I mentioned. Yeah. Goods B is at 18%. It's 2,600 divided by. Yes, you're right. Great, Pooja, Vijay. So if you have got it, everybody have got it. It's good. Any more questions on this chapter? So 9,300 I first utilized from this 12,600, then 1,650 balance. Yes, is it necessary to fully utilize the input IGST first against output CGST, then utilize input CGST? Yes, fully IGST has to be utilized completely. Only then CGST and SGST has to be utilized. That's the order what we is permitted. That is the order to be followed. So IGST has to be fully exhausted. Only then CGST and SGST credit can be utilized. Any more questions? I'd like to thank all the students for giving a patient hearing, sitting over there and listening virtually. I know it's very tough, but you've been very supportive and very cooperative, and you have given good feedback, responses, and you have been really participative. All the very best for you. And just do it well. Okay, that's the only hope that whatever theory you have learned, you have to remember that and practically keep revising it and give your best. So that proper time management will be. That is the don't curse yourselves later on saying that you're not done time management. Practice time management and give your best. Yeah, Jay, ITC utilization. Total ITC, it is 12,600, right? Total ITC, how much it is 12,600. Now, this 12,600 first utilized for IGST. IGST has to be utilized for first IGST, then with CGST and SGST in any order. So 12,600, we say 9,300 is gone. So, how much is balance? 12,600 minus 9,300. 9,300. This is 3,300. Now, this I've utilized between CGST and SGST equally. Why? Because anyways, I have both the credits equal balance, so I'll distribute it equally. I've distributed it equally. Now, how much is the tax payable at this step? At this step, 3,150 is payable. Of this, 1,650 I've utilized. Balance is how much? 1,500. This 1,500 I've taken from this 2,700 rupees credit. So this 1,500 minus 1,500 makes it as tax payable is zero. Okay, so this is how I've calculated the tax payable. Similarly, IG this. Okay, you understood the steps here, no? So 1,650 में से 1,500 गया. So 1,500 I've utilized ITC of CGST. From 2,700 I've taken 1,500. Okay, so balance payable is zero. Similarly here 1,650 में से 1,000, how much is tax payable? 1,500. Can I utilize CGST with SGST? No, I can utilize CGST, SGST with SGST. So I've taken 1,500 of SGST. Then how much is the tax payable? This was payable, and this I've utilized. So balance payable is zero. Okay. Now what was the ITC available out of 2,700? 12,600 I fully utilized. 2,700 out of that I have utilized 1,500. Balance is 1,200. Clear? What will you do with the remaining ITC of 1,200? It will be carried forward to next year, next month. So it gets carried forward every month. When you utilize balance will be carried forward next month. Thank you, Pooja. Thank you, Parth. But for utilizing payment of CGST, you have to first CGST, then use IGST. Correct, correct. But ITC is fully utilized, so CGST will fully take it up. IGST can be taken in any proportion. Here I have taken equal proportion. If you have lot of credit of CGST, then take CGST utilization and take utilization of IGST first for CGST. Okay, so that you pay less taxes. In the previous session, we have done no ITC question, how to make the maximum utilization. And the objective should be to pay less GST tax from your cash payment. Yes, this is my last lecture. $12,600 कैसे आया? 12,600 कैसे आया? 82,600 इसको 108 डिवाइड बाय 108 into 18 करने पे आपको 12,600 का क्रेडिट मिल जाएगा. So 12,600 is your input tax credit. All the very best for your exams. Just do well. All my wishes to you, and just do your best. Not only in this subject, all the subjects, so that your total average meets up and you are get pulled up by your average marks. Jay, you have a Telegram channel? Sure, you can add me over there. My number is 9886 111 814. You can add me over there. I repeat, 9886 111 814. Yeah, these questions will definitely be uploaded, and all the best. Sunil Dubey, which part you didn't understand? Since everybody are leaving, please let me know which part you didn't understand. I'll explain that again to you. My number again, 9886 111 814. Yes, Mansa, I'm there on LinkedIn. The ITC part of this question, how we have got the ITC, 50,400 is a purchase, which is inclusive of GST. So 50,400 divided by 112. Why 112? 100 is the base value and 12 rupees is the GST. So divide by 112 into 12 will give you the value of input purchases, input tax. That has to be divided between, you get 5,400, CGST 2,700, CGST, SGST 2,700. Ms. Sunil Dubey for you. Then goods B is purchased as IGST, right? So 82,600 divided by 118 into 18 makes it as 12,600. Now this 12,600, what you will utilize first for? What is your liability of CGST? 9,300. So you have utilized for, first utilize for 9,300. Okay, this 12,600, first I'm utilizing it for what? 12,600 for IGST output, then CGST output and SGST output. Now, how much is my CGST output? 3,150. How much is the balance available with me? Out of 12,600, I have balance of only 9,300. So I can distribute between them either 3,300 here and 0 here, or 0 here or 3,300 here, or I can distribute equally also. So what I'll do is I'll distribute equally so that it is better for me. So I've distributed 1,650 to this fellow and 1,650 to SGST. So total 12,600 exhausted, correct? Now I have utilized for IGST. Now IGST I can utilize for IGST. IGST I can also utilize for CGST and SGST. Now I have credit. How much is the balance payable of this 3,150? 1,650 I've already paid here, correct? So how much is the balance payable? 3,150 minus 1,650, 1,500 is payable. I have credit of how much? 2,700. So out of 2,700, I've paid 1,500, right? So out of 2,700, balance 1,500. This is the balance of my credit. Similarly, SGST, out of 3,150, 1,650 has been paid, balance 1,500. So how did I pay this 1,500? From this credit, 2,700 credit minus 1,500. Balance is 1,200. So this is how you arrive at your balance. Clear? Sure, Jay, you can contact me and we'll take this forward. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All the very best. Session concluded, sir.